Today we will be simulating the full career of the first overall pick in the 2025 NHL entry draft, Matthew Schaefer. He was taken by the New York Islanders, although he did miss a vast majority of the OHL season after undergoing surgery on a broken clavicle that he sustained during the World Junior Championships. Let's hop into a franchise mode on NHL 26 and simulate to see how EA Sports thinks his career is gonna go. The year one roster for the New York Islanders consists of Drouin, Horvat, and Barzal on the first line. They got a bunch of abilities going on here. Pelech and Pulock is a nasty pair. Schaefer, 80 overall, and he signs his ELC. Yeah, you know me. Obviously, they have Sorokin, 91 overall. He's a stud. They have a very successful first season. 5th in the entire league, 101 points. Not a lot of production from Schaefer, but he was a +6. And in 19 playoff games, he was a +14. With 6 points. However, he did not get the Calder. That goes to Demidov. The year one Stanley Cup final is between the Colorado Avalanche and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it was a sweep. Boo. We don't want to see that, and this is insane. Somehow they get the Breadman. They convince him to hop New York teams. I don't believe it. 83 overall is where Schaefer is at right now. Sorokin even went up one, and the team has another good season. They finished with 97 points this time, 4 less than the previous year, but still second in the division in the playoffs. Not a lot of offense going on here, and he was the only defenseman in the negatives for the plus-minus. So, yeah, not a hot start, but he did lead 4 points in the playoffs, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. A Canada versus Canada Stanley Cup final. Gary Bettman somewhere is fuming. He's now up to 86, so he's growing very quick. Sorokin still 92. And they have another good year, 101 points, repeating their first season. That would be good enough for 7th in the league. The Breadman, 89 points. Good season from him. And Schaefer had 24 with a +7. So he's not really putting up points, but at least he is out there for goals for and not against. I mean, +7's not substantial. He also had 0 points in the playoffs, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champions for year 3. And now in year 4, the team looks solid. Panarin going down in overall. He's at 88. And speaking of 88, that's where Schaefer's sitting. Signs a brand new deal, 4 years at 8.4. Not a big deal. Sorokin down 2 overall to 90, but he does still have the 3 abilities, so that could go a long way, and apparently it does, because the team finishes 3rd in the league with 111 points, their best season yet. Schaefer also had his best season yet with 43 and a +18. Not bad. However, in the playoffs didn't show up. He got 1 apple, was a +2, but gotta produce more than that. Tampa Bay loses to the Dallas Stars this year in 6 games. And Christophe Letang retires with 972. Not bad, sir. In year 5, Barzal, first line center still. He's playing with Heineman and ya boy Palmieri. Schaefer, 91, up on the first pair now. Sorokin, sub 90 for the first time. He is down to an 89 overall. And the Islanders miss out on the playoffs this season. 38 points from Schaefs, the Schaefinator. And Tampa Bay loses to Dallas again. Absolutely crazy. And I guess Victor Hedman said, enough of this crap, I'm retiring. Almost had 1,100 points. Is that any good? The team is starting to, I want to say, deteriorate here. They're not looking as good. Schaefer, 90 overall. Sorokin down to 87. They're still relying on him. And with 85 points, they finished 4th. The division was weak this year. Schaefer had 34 points. Boqvist put up more. He had 46 PIMs, though, so attaboy. St. Louis Blues beat the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games to win a cup. Horvat, Barzal, Heineman, your first line. Schaefer still playing with Boqvist, 90 and 82 overall, and somehow 82 overall put up more points than him. Another 4th place finish, 87 points. They're right on the edge, but just can't quite get over the hump. 24 points in 77 games this year, and another Stanley Cup final appearance for the Tampa Bay Lightning. However, this time they get swept by the Calgary Flames. Tough look. 3 abilities on the lad, and he signs a new 6-year, $10.88 million contract. Sorokin is down bad, but the team pulls through. 116 points, good enough for 2nd in the entire league. 43 points in just 62 games for Schaefer, so he must have had quite the injury. And he was almost point a game in the playoffs with a +5. But unfortunately, the New Jersey Devils got the better of them in 7 games. Maury retires, 959. Good career, lad. Shane Wright, Heineman, and Peterka now the first line with a 91 overall Schaefer. quarterbacking this team. Sorokin, because of that season, went all the way back up to 88 overall, and they finished third in the Metro with 98 points. And speaking of points, we get 41 from our boy. Not bad. 82 games. He played the full season this time around. He also had 9 points in 12 playoff games, so he seems to do quite well in the playoffs, at least recently. Unfortunately, they lost to the Caps in round 2. Fortunate for me, I am a Caps fan, but you know what I mean. Adam Fox, what does the Fox say? 863. And Chikrin also retired. Starting to see a lot of modern defensemen starting to go. Sorokin now down to 80, and they finished 6th in the Metro. Unfortunately, the division was fairly strong this year, which kind of shafted them. 45 points from Schaefer, and the Chicago Blackhawks are going to win against the Florida Panthers. Cale Makar, you absolute legend. Those numbers are insane. Check out this new D partner. Samu? Either way, I like the looks of it. However, apparently the league doesn't, or the game doesn't. They finish with 64 points last in the division. Minus 29 and only 36 points. Dallas Stars sweep the Jerks. Crazy behavior. And unfortunately, the Islanders get finessed by the Winnipeg Jets. They do pick up Levasseur, a center power forward, mediumly potential. So he is going to be put right on the first line. They are dropping him in cold turkey. Let's see how that goes. Carter George, now the starting netminder. It doesn't go. Look how well the division did this year, though. Second last had 96 points. That is historic. It has to be. A 7-game playoff final. Love to see that. Zach Werenski, over 1,000 points. Attaboy. They draft this medium elite center again. I don't know why they keep drafting the same kind of player here, but maybe they're just getting finessed and everyone else keeps taking the player that they actually wanted. Again, they finished last in the division. We are going through some dark times here with the New York Islanders. A 7-game Stanley Cup final. Say less. I love it. Another center power forward. Like, what are you doing, guys? This GM is sus, bro. Somebody needs to look into this. George is now up to 89 overall, so he's definitely starting to look like the new guy. Schaefer and Samu still going strong, and a mega deal. $15.7 million for 8 years. Matthew Schaefer secured the bag. However, the team still stinks. They get a nice amount of points, finishing second last in the division. 48 points in 77 games for Schaefer. Pretty solid. Seeing a lot of the same teams in the Stanley Cup final here. So it seems like those GMs know what they're doing. The Islanders get finessed again, moving from the 3rd pick to 5th, and they finally draft a non-centerman, but it's a right-wing two-way forward. Quinn Hughes had 1,300 points. My word, what a career. Levasseur is absolutely nuts. 90 overall. 3 abilitas, and we still got Schaefer and Samu as the top pair. Nordqvist, the starting goaltender. Oh man, this team blows. Last in the Metro, 66 points. Schaefer puts up 40 of them and was a dash 46. So he was out there for a lot of goals against. I'm so happy the Caps. I hope I get to see another Capital Stanley Cup in my lifetime. That would be tremendous. Whoa, a sniper. That's crazy. Good job, guys. Maybe they're onto something here. Over 1,000 points for Dobson. Clearly, he went to Montreal and did quite well. So, Montreal fans, be excited, I guess. Schaefer started to show some regression here. He's down to 88, and the team puts up, it's a nice jersey number, but not a nice amount of points for a season. 72, and Schaefer really fell off a cliff. 22 points this year. Golden Knights sweep in the Stanley Cup final, and Luke Hughes has 866. Brant Clark, 800. Definitely starting to see the draft picks that the Islanders have been acquiring. Moving up the lineup here. Schaefer going the other direction. I mean, he hasn't moved down in the lineup, but he is 86 overall. They got a stud goalie, but they still suck. 72 points for the team. 25 for Schaefer in 65 games played. The Stanley Cup final was between the Boston Bruins and probably Macklin, and Macklin lost. This team looks all right. Like, they got abilities. I don't know why they have 87 overall on the second line there, but they did draft this guy, a franchise player. They finally got one, 83 overall, and 83 overall is where Schaefer's at as well. He is exponentially dropping here, and the team still finishes last in the division. 81 points. They are not having a good time right now. Schaefer puts up 30 this year. Tampa Bay, another Stanley Cup final appearance. I think they've had a bunch, right? Look at this team. Come on. There's abilities everywhere. They're still burying that franchise player on the 4th line. I feel like they're throwing. 81 overall is Schaefer. They finished second last in the division this time, but 62 points is still a horrific season. 27 from Schaefer. This team's absolutely going through it at the moment. Golden Knights beat the Detroit Red Wings in 6 games. Zeev Buium also did not have a great career. I don't know what's going on right now. This team looks unreal, no? They have so many abilities going on. Samu, demoted to the 2nd pair. And they put up 80 points this year, but still not good enough. The division was insane again. Second last had 91. So the Metro has really not been doing this team any favors. But honestly, they haven't really deserved to be in anyway. Landon DuPont is going to be at the top of the year 20 retiring class. He had 1,019 points. And Schaefer, through 1,500 games, had 112 goals, 561 assists, for a grand total of 673 points. He was a +10 on his career and only had 6 playoff appearances. Throughout his career, Schaefer signed 20 years worth of contracts, but he did forfeit the final year of the 8-year contract he was on. He retired in the 7th season, so he made a grand total of $212.37 million. Is that any good? He surprisingly did not win a single piece of hardware throughout his entire career. I don't know if I've ever done a career sim where that has happened. They did have a few good runs in the playoffs, but unfortunately couldn't get the job done. Well, there you have it. That is Matthew Schaefer's full career on NHL 26. I almost didn't upload this. I'm not really sure why. I guess it just really went downhill fast, and yeah, he played for the Islanders his whole career, so he stayed loyal. Well, I did get around to editing it, and I appreciate you guys for being here. If you could like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments how accurate or inaccurate you believe this is. And on that note, I will see you guys soon.